This is your Silhouette Seamstress, and today I'm making scarves, lady scarves. There's different styles of scarves. This is where you make a square and you do what's called a finger roll hem. That's the same hem that I used on wedding veils to give it a nice crisp edge. And so you need a square for your standard kind of lady scarf, because when you go to wear it, you fold it in half, make a triangle, and then it goes on your head however you like that. This one's small. This is a small one for like a child, for a little girl. And since your fabric, when you get it, it's a rectangle. It's a big, long rectangle. So how do you get the square? Well, you decide on how big you want your scarf, first of all. I usually make mine about 36 inches square, sometimes 42. The really big ones that you find in the store sometimes will be like 52 inches, and that's so that if you wanted to roll it and make it into like a headband, you can. So this is what you'll have. You'll have a rectangle like this. Now, this is where your rotary cutter is your best friend. This is very lightweight, very flowy, and so it will slide on you if you don't keep your eye on it. So you have your selvage here, and you have, well, this was kind of cut in half, so normally you'd have selvage, and that's 22 inches on a regular bolt. If you get a 60-inch bolt, then it's going to be 30 inches, which is perfect for a nice scarf. So I'm not exactly sure how wide this is, so I'm going to measure it. And my machine's kind of in my way at the moment, so I'm going to try to do this right out here. And I got that's 23 inches there, and then another, so it's 33 inches. Now that's not bad. So I'm going to make a 33-inch one. I make them different sizes. Little girls, 33 inches is going to be plenty. And the way you can tell where it's going to fall, and I'll show you how. You take the point, say you're holding it like this. You take your right point and you want to put it right across the crown of your head, right here. You know, where you go from your ears up and go around. You know, when they cut your hair, they separate your hair into those sections. Well, you're going to take that point from there and see how far it hangs down. And if it hangs down this far, that's big enough. If you want it really big, like I said, if you want to be able to roll it and use it like, you know, a headband, then you can make it, 40 inches or whatever. The neat thing about it is you should do it on the grain, but when you fold it on the bias, which gives it a little bit extra width for you. So I know that this is 33 inches. Now I want a 33-inch square. How do I get a 33-inch square from this? This is what you do. You take this far corner, which will be, say this is another, we'll say selvage and selvage, and you're going to take that to meet this edge on the right hand side. Now this edge isn't even, so I'm going to have to trim it. So it's good that it's 33 inches. It'll end up being a 32-inch square after trimming it, or a little bit bigger. And you want to fold it so that it is flush, that your edge is flush. So in other words, it's like this. It's even on this. If it's not, you're going to trim it. But this here tells you this is where your 32, 33 inches falls. You want to put a pin there. I'm going to put a pin right there. And you're going to smooth it out, because this part of the rectangle, this part on the bottom, this extra piece that's falling here, we're going to cut that off. That single layer there, we're going to cut it off. Oh my goodness, this is long. So I had this big long piece of this beautiful material, and I thought I'm going to make some scarves. So now the other thing that you want to make sure is when you do this, especially if you're a beginner, go ahead, after you've put that first pin in, when you folded it down, pin that bottom edge so that as you smooth it out, it's going to stay square. It's not going to be kind of all wonky. And then what I usually will do is I'll fold this piece down just so it's not laying all over, flying all over the place, so that I can cut that off. this having the one selvage edge as the bottom helps you to keep a straight line, because you're going to put your ruler on there. Your where'd I put mine? I had it. I've got my rotary cutter, and the ruler is somewhere. I just had it in my hands. I can't find it. It'll be not so good, but I can always. I have no idea what I did with that thing. I literally just had it. It's probably in the chair or something. But anyway, so I'm going to use this other little mat. I don't think it's under there. You never know. We're doing a lot of projects. At least I misplace things really easily. But I can use this as my straight edge. Move my pins out of the way. Sometimes you end up improvising. Because I needed to put the sewing machine out here. So, now that I've got that corner pinned, and to keep it laying flat, I can also put a couple pins across the bottom as I cut it, and it won't let it slide around. And leave them there so that you can trim it to make it a nice smooth straight edge all the way around. And that's what your self-healing mat is for. If you don't have one of these big ones, get one, especially if you're going to do stuff like this. And you just follow the grid to keep the line straight. So that's why I was looking for my clear ruler, because I can see through it to do it. It's so see-through I can't see it. Where is that thing? That's really strange. It was just here. Man, that's on the floor. It'll show up. So I want to make sure that that stays flat. Smooth it out on its way over, so I can get the rest of it, especially when you get to the point on the other side. Like this. And just like that. So I'm going to take, you know what might be under my sewing machine? Because I did put this up here. Nope, that's the cord. It's not in the bin. Oh, not there. Not in the chair. This is really strange. Oh well. I'll use this guy. So I'm going to pretend this is a ruler. And I'm going to lay it right on the edge. And what's neat about these self-healing mats, the big ones, they also have a diagonal line in them. And since this is see-through, it makes it easy. So, I'm going to put that right there and line that up. And go ahead and cut it. It would help if I opened the blade. I'm always afraid of, accidentally slicing my finger. I've done that before. There we go. And just go right along the edge. Make sure you have a good sharp blade in your rotary cutter. It's important, especially for this kind of material, because it will do a little bit of this fuzzy fraying kind of thing, and that's never any fun. And you want a nice clean line, and just move that down like that to the edge there, like that. And that's why I pinned this bottom too, because I didn't see my ruler. I was like, I need to put pins in there. And just follow it straight. And scoot it down to the end. And now we'll have a nice, so when you unfold this, excuse me, you'll see it's a nice square. So now you can take the pins out, so you don't need them to hold it in place anymore. Take those few out. The great thing about a scarf is, this is the only time you pin it. When you put it on the machine, you don't have to pin a thing, because of the certain stitch settings that you're going to use to make that nice crisp edge on it. Now, I did leave the one pin here that was in this corner, because remember I said this is not an even edge, so I'm going to turn it around. I have one even edge, but the other one's kind of crooked, because when I fold this up to that point, I can see that it's not even from point to point. You see how it bows out? There's that little curve to it. Well, I'm going to get rid of that curve. The way I do that is I'm going to take these points here and match it up to that one. Lay it down. Make sure it's smooth from where it was before. And I'm just going to trim off that little curve with a nice straight edge matching up to it. Right, like that. That's beautiful. Okay, now we should have a square. A nice 33-inch square. And we do. Just step back here so you can get a nice square. Okay? Now on your machine, this is going to sound weird, but in order to get that nice crisp edge, like on this little one, it's basically kind of a forced rolled ham. And we used to call it a finger roll ham because it's like you rolled it with your fingers and then stitched it. So what you do is, on your sewing machine, you set your stitch to a zigzag stitch on the machine. It's a regular zigzag. And let's see, yeah. And that in a length of 1, but the width is the largest width you've got. And what that does is, the width is this. It's going to be wide, but the length tightens it up. It makes it gather up into that rolled hem. Believe it or not, it does. Oh, I have the wrong presser foot on here. I was doing testing a new presser foot that I wasn't sure what it was, and it turned out it was a blind hem foot that was Janome brand that I didn't know it had. And all you need is a regular zigzag stitch foot. Zigzag foot on there. Like that. Lock it in place. And let's put it in. Now when you start this narrow finger roll hem on this, don't start right at the corner. Start down about an inch or so. And when you put your fabric in here, you are going to guide it. You're not just going to let it, because it's so light that actually the feed dogs it'll seem like it's not picking it up, but that's because it's so slippery. So when you lay it down in the machine, the cut edge, you're going to put where this cutout is in the foot, where that cutout is inside the foot in the middle. You're going to lay the fabric up against the side of it. Just like that. And then you put your fabric in there. You put your needle down in the fabric. It's going to be all the way to your left. And it's just a little, I don't want to hit the side of the foot, so I just made it just a little under the widest setting for this. And then you just give it some gas. String decided to stay in the front. Sometimes that happens, like catches, I don't know why. You just take it out. Just put it to the back. And it'll finish what it's supposed to do. as you approach the corner, when you get a 1/4 inch of the end of the side that you're doing, and a 1/4 inch is going to be at the end of your tines when you on your zigzag foot. So as soon as that edge from the bottom reaches there, you stop, leave your needle down in, and you flip the fabric to your right, and then you go down that side. And what it will do, it will gather up that corner and round it off for you. Sure it's in there. Yeah. Keep it in there. Turn it. That little piece cut off there. And go down the other side. corner to where I started. And just back up a few stitches. Look, get that out. There. And any little pieces that had jutted out because of when I cut it with the blade, that it didn't quite catch it. I just want to snip those off. Any loose threads. I'm going around the corners. Anything like that. And fuzzy things. I don't know where those come from. They show up every once in a while. Now, if you want an even thicker kind of edging, and maybe even to help straighten it up, if you find a couple spots where it's a little on the crooked side from it sliding around under the foot, because it will do that, then you can go around the second time, and then that just gives you a nice, strong, really solid edge. This is fine. The reason why the sewing machine makes so much noise is because it's basically almost stitching nothing because of how thin it is. It's not very dense. Because when you do other fabrics on your machine, it grabs the sound out of it. It's deadened. And I have a spot on here that I totally missed. You really have to watch this, or it will slide out, and you won't have it stitched on an edge, and then it'll start fraying, and then you'll be upset. That's why I always go around, a second, looky-see, so to speak, and make sure that it caught everything. If I need to catch up any fuzzy ends, there was a couple on here. This is the other side. And just real careful trimming them off like that. This one side, there's a couple spots where I missed a little bit. So I'm just going to fix that up. Put that needle in. Just go down this one side one more time, because it had missed some stitches. Now what's happening is, because I've gone around it once, now when this thicker edge hits the inside of the foot, it rolls up and it makes it really crisp. So later I will actually go around the rest of it a second time, because then it makes it look really fresh. I'm going to show you the difference between the two sides. Not only is it a good idea to go around a second time for just aesthetics, for it to look cleaner, it also gives more strength to the edging, and it has a more really nice finished off look. So hopefully you can see. This is the single edge right here. That's the single edge. Just a single roll. And this side is the double, where I went over it twice. And you can actually see the edging a whole lot better than the single side, which was that. Let's see if I can get them next to each other. So that's single, and that's the double. You can actually see the hem better. So this one's done, and your standard square scarf, you fold it like a triangle, and you can wear it, around your neck. You can put a brooch there, you just tie a knot. You can put it on your head, like in the old days. Put it on your head, keep your hair from blowing around. Where you just kind of tie it on your head like this. Or sometimes I just like to take a scarf and roll it up end to end. Try to keep the point in the back, and just kind of make it like a headband. And just kind of tie it in the back, kind of like that. So it's versatile. And if you do 32 inches, it's perfect. You don't have to go any bigger unless you want to have it so big that you can do where you twist it and wrap it around the front, come to the back. You can turn it into a type of head wrap. This is a really light fabric. And the other style scarf that I want to show you is the double layer triangle scarf. Now that's a square you fold into a triangle. I had this piece of material, and I was like, and it was a really odd shape, and it was really wide. And this is kind of a boo-boo, actually. I accidentally cut it into a big triangle. Silly me. Now, I thought to myself, they used to make scarves in a triangle shape. And for the little kids, what they did was, because I used to have one of these little scarves, it had a binding on it, and you tied it in the back under your hair, like you'd have a ponytail or whatever, and you tie it back there. It's kind of like the same idea, except one difference is it gives it more body to be a double triangle. So this is one big, huge triangle, and it's got really long tails, so long as this. So all I'm going to do with this one is fold it in half. And I'm going to fold it in half with the wrong sides together, right sides out. I'm going to trim it up, make sure that it's got a nice straight edge. And then all I'm going to do is put it in a serger and serge the edge. instead of using the sewing machine, I'm going to serge the edge. Then I'm going to do a line of stitching behind the serging to give it more strength. The serging actually gives it a little decorative finish without using a decorative finish on my sewing machine. Now, most sewing machines do have this, I call it the ladder stitch. I really don't know what anybody else calls it, but it looks like a ladder with zigzag rungs, and that's kind of like an overcast stitch, and that's what you use when you use an overcast foot. So you can do that too. There's a smocking stitch that looks like lattice work. You can use that also, and it looks really nice edged on here like that. But we're just going to use the serger. I think I can bring it over here so you can see. It's my new baby. I can't live without one, and I needed one that was top notch. And I normally don't buy new sergers, but it was a necessity. I had a big project recently, and so that's why. Now with this one, I am going to pin it all the way around because I don't want any of this slipping and being all funny the way it lays. So you can do the same thing with this that you do with the square, because you fold the square into a triangle, and you can roll this thing for, like a headband look, or not, around your neck, like a neck scarf inside a blouse or whatever, like we do in the winter time. And you want to be careful not to stretch it as you go, as you're pinning, because when this gets serged, I'm putting the pins far enough back that serger is not going to be cutting into these pins, because it will ruin it. And I'm not doing that. Not. So I can mark the straight line on this with a marking pen. If you're a beginner, I do suggest that. Before you go to your serger, pin it, mark it with a straight edge, and then take it to your serger and serge that little booger right there. And this one, I'm going to pin it the rest of the way. This. And I stabbed myself again. I must do that at least a dozen times every day, no matter what I'm doing. Now the neat thing about doing this way with using the serger, you can straighten up the edge. You don't actually have to draw the line on, but if you're a beginner, my suggestion is take a straight edge, do the straight line, and then take it to the serger. Okay? I guess that's what I'll do. Just kind of be an example. And that way you're going to line up the needles on your serger with the line that you drew, which is your straight cutting line. You can do it on all three sides if you want. The fold side, it's not going to be necessary. So this way it makes it reversible. You don't have to worry about a right side and a wrong side, because the wrong side's on the inside. And then you go like this, because it wants to slide like a little fish, slippery fish. So you go like this. I'm going to find my ruler later. Like that. Because it's so long, I have to keep moving it down. That doesn't need to be in there. And this one's really, really long. But I thought, make a great headband. Twist it, make a headband. Just like this. And this is going to be a gift for someone, because these are not my colors. And I can't wear browns and stuff because it makes me look like I got no color in my skin. Like I disappear when I wear browns and yellows and golds and orange. I'm a pink and blue person. If you ever get a pin, you go to stick it in, there's no point, get rid of it, throw it out. I come across those. There are duds in pins that we buy in the store. It does happen. I don't like it when it happens, especially when it's like every fourth one's a bad pin. I go, wait a minute, I paid for 250 pins, and I got about 100 of them that are bad. That's not fun. Okay, there's this. Also, using the serger on the edge of this, it keeps it from rolling up, because a lot of these polyester type scarf fabrics will roll like crazy. Some double knits do the same thing. And some fabric on for a skirt, and it just, you cut it and it rolls up. It doesn't know how to not roll up. Now the easier way, instead of making a straight line part way and then have to continue on, you can fold this up. As long as your two edges meet, when you do that, you'll have a nice straight edge. So I'm going to go ahead and get my marking pins, and where's that going? Mark. Oh, there's my ruler. It was hiding. I told you it was here. It was on the chair where I put the other scarf. So first things first, I'm going to, since this is so long, I'll lay it to where it's on my mat here, where this edge can go along the diagonal, and I can actually even it up. That's what and the pins keep it from being messed up. I'm not using this right now, so I'm going to take this down, turn it off, like that. Okay, and I've got this laid out. I'm going to lay it right across that little diagonal line that was on there already. Well, from corner to corner actually. This corner to this corner. And it's still bigger than that. That thing's huge. I'm going to lay it there. I'm going to take, because this is see-through, this comes in handy, but I'm going to draw the line on here and then take it. The serger's going to do the hard work for me. So, as long as I can line it up with the points underneath, or, you know, corners, corner to corner diagonally, I got it. Good line. Yeah, like that. I'm just going to mark it. And that's another reason why I put the pins in there, because this stuff will slide under that pin. I just want to make sure that stays in the corner. Okay. Go down here to this spot. Now the serger's going to fix all that mess for me. Like that. And now it's going to go right to there. So now I have a guideline there for the other side. And do the same thing. This is really crooked. You should see this side. See how crooked this is? I mean, it's pretty crooked. Doesn't even match in the back. And that's another thing too. You want to turn it over to see if on the other side it goes further down, because you want to make sure that you take that lowest point to mark your line. You see, this one side was completely straight, but the other edge is not. So I'm just going to mark it that, because the one's a selvage edge, so I know it's straight. And this side's not. And I'm just going to mark it just for the fun. I can go along the seam edge, or the selvage edge. You're going to be fine. So now I'm all set to serge this. The folded side, you can cut it apart if you want. I'm not going to. I have the pins here to keep it laying flat while it does its serging thing. And I'll do that, and I'll now show you how it's going to really look nice. Here. And plug in here. So now it's going to reach over there. So for this particular project, I picked out colors in the scarf. 4 different colors, but they're all in the scarf. So the edging is going to be really special. It's going to look like it was meant to be that way. And it was, because I designed it. Let's take the petal cord this way. Just get tangled up. And I moved it across the room. There we go. Get that out of the way. And power source. Who's this to? That's to that. Okay. There we go. Now with a serger, I've discovered you don't always have to lift the presser foot to put the fabric in. It pretty much will grab any, as soon as it senses it, I think, it just grabs it and it goes. So I'm going to do this way. I think y'all can see. Yeah. And I'm going to start with the folded edge, just because it's going to be kind of at the back, because that's where the point is. You know, we get this long piece and it comes down as a point, a triangle shape, and that's why I'm putting it there. I may have to stand up so I can see. I think I'm going to, because where I'm as I get down to the bottom, I'm going to give it a little pivot. I'm going to go all the way off, but where the edge of the fabric is going to be right where the needle is. Make sure those are down. Just for now. And then I'm going to lift it up. It's the only time I do. This is when I got to pivot it. The fabric. Ah, it's getting popped. And this is the side that had the little bump on there. So I've lined up that line up that I drew right with the cutter. And I didn't catch it. It's the only problem I had. Sometimes I should have put another pin back here. It's okay. I'm going to go around it one more time. Make sure that I catch it the second time. For some reason, going around twice just makes it look nicer. Anyway, I don't know why. I just do this. So when something's this slippery, I should have put more pins. And it wouldn't slide like this. So I'm going to put this pin a little closer. Ouch. Together. Because it didn't like me doing that. There's always a learning curve. Put that in there. So that, I know some people don't like to use pins, but this kind of fabric almost like demands it, so to speak. And you're better to do the pins than not. Now this is going to be a nice thick edging on this one. A nice thick edge. So as I go down the other sides, I'm going to put some more pins in there. I don't want to have it happen on the other side too. When you can catch something early like that, it's all a good thing. Oh, gee. Also, the more pins when you have an uneven edge, the more apt it's going to stay where you want it. It's not going to slide around on you. Nothing worse than slippery fabric. Like that. And this one. hate having to put a bunch of pins in, but I'd rather have a nice looking scarf than a crappy looking scarf. Okay, that should fix that problem. We're going to go around one more time. Down, just because I'm going to turn it right there by the blade. Take that pin out because it's right on that line. I pinned. Just straighten it out. Take that, remove it. So it's got to cut it there and make it even. Make sure I don't have anything else close to those needles. No ma'am. And I think, take this one, move that. Okay, now we can go. And make sure this pin is not going to be under that needle. Okay. Because it's almost there, and I don't want it to run into the blade. So, need to get it out of there. Oh, buddy. I didn't see you in there. And you're going to have a problem if I'm not careful. Okay? Da, 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 da. So there's another one. I almost pinned it right on that line, and that was not a good thing. Let's see. Where's line end? Okay. We gotcha. Pin too close for comfort. Now it's all the way to the end. I'm going to take all these pins out, except for the ones on that one side that are holding that edge in. And that's when you get a chance to go around, see if you found any spots where it didn't catch. And so far so good. I knew that one side was going to be kind of off. Slid around like that. I think this is the side, yeah. This is the side that needs to be redone. So I'm just going to redo the whole edge on this side. And this right here. Ow. I'm going to pin myself again. So in this case, I'm going to work this side, that on the side that didn't catch, so I can see it and make sure it gets caught this time. Now going around the second time, you do not want to cut the threads from before. So you have to watch and make sure you keep it on the side of the blade that it won't catch it. So this pin is really close. So there's that one. Because now I'm getting into the danger zone. Come on, Odie. Take that one out. Just out like that. Okay. don't have to kind of lift it. He wants to hold on to that part there. It's because I didn't catch the whole edge. Just not stitching it. Now it's on there. Just pins out. There's our go. There's where it came back. Okay. Take the rest of these pins out. Like this. Get this off. I just do it right on the metal plate. It's been stitched around twice. It's not going anywhere. And that on the edge down there. I'm going to show you the difference between the single going around one time and then the going around twice. And then you can decide which one you like better. I like the double because it really gives us some body. Okay. Let me zip it up. There's still got pins sticking out here. And that's what happens. Oh, there's pins out here. Okay. So I got just one spot where I have to go back over it again. This is where I stopped and started from the first go around. Let's see. Around feel for pins. And there's one. Nothing worse than doing, working on someone's clothing, giving them, and then you end up leaving all these pins in them for sticking the body. That's no fun. Okay, I think I got them all. Yeah. Okay, so this is the single stitched edge. You can see it's just a single stitched across. And this is the double side. So there's your double. See how it stands out really well? You just got to trim that little thing off of there. Next to the single, put the single below. And you can see a big difference. This really stands out. And the 4 colors, it just works. So now this one is just strictly a triangle shape. You don't have to fold the square in half, but it's nice and big. So this you could probably, let's see if I can do this, where you can enclose the tail, I call it the tail, where you put it on your forehead, like this, and then voila, like that. And you come around the back, under the nape of your neck, and since it's so long, since it's such a wide triangle, now this tail thing here, you put that underneath the 2 points, and then you tie it over top of it. Since I can't see what I'm doing, I don't know what it looks like. I gotta do what I feel. I don't have any daughters around to tell me that I did it wrong. Listen, when you do that, it tightens it up on the rest of your head. So, actually my bangs are wanting to come out. But anyway, so this way, you don't have that tail flapping around. It's the bigger you make it, the more you can do it this way. And you can take these and tuck them under if you want. If you make one of those big 60-inch triangles, then you can actually probably twist it and bring it around to the front. So I like the square to triangle. It's just a plain triangle because it's more versatile, and you can use it in a lot more different styles, and that way you don't have to buy so many or make so many. Who said anything about buying? We're making them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on lady scarves. I showed you 2 different kinds. There's also the one that a lot of women use to make the head wraps is the long, wide, rectangular piece. So simple. You just cut a long, wide, rectangular piece. You can make it single, just 1 layer of fabric. You can put a solid fabric underneath the see-through fabric and give it some more body and make it reversible that way. So there's a whole lot you can do with accessories these days, and that why not? Make it your own. Make something cool, something that says, people look at you and go, where'd you get that? Where can I buy that? And you can just tell them, say, I made it. And you come back and see your sew at seamstress. And let me know what you think.